Story 1. I read once, the dark side of pretty privilege is that you are lusted over and not loved. People just want to say they have experienced you, and that has always stuck with me. I honestly wish I had read it earlier in my life because it's so true. Story 2. Negging. Being attractive enough to get hit on, but when you're not interested, they pick out something to make you feel bad about so they don't feel bad for being rejected. Story 3. Not being taken seriously and listened to. I had someone tell me, I can't concentrate on what you're saying because I'm distracted by the shape of your lips. Story 4. When people who are your friends take every chance they can to criticize your appearance or anything else, whatever little crumb of shade they can use to humble you. Story 5. It is difficult to be friends with people who feel insecure around you, even if you think highly of them. It is also difficult to work around these types of people. People create narratives about you in their minds that are often far from reality. People often assume you are flirting when you are not. Some men are too intimidated to express their interest in you. Some people like to pick and prod to identify one of your insecurities to make themselves feel better. Story 6. To many men, it's just face and body. They expect something physical and nobody wants to actually take the time to get to know me. As cliched as it sounds, it really does hurt because I value quality time above everything else. So, to like someone and want to get to know them when all they want to do is hook up really sucks. Story 7. The constant unwanted attention. I am an introvert with a resting bitch face. Good lord, that sets them off. You should smile more. You're so pretty, why don't you smile? You have such beautiful blue eyes. My eyes are green, by the way, not sure what the connection is there. It also seems that the real creeps are immune to the power of the resting bitch face. It is like it is a challenge or something. Getting catcalls and being followed by weirdos from a young age was also delightful. Story 8. I once had a stranger follow me around from a safe distance of about 5 meters or so. Every time I dropped my guard, he'd just get close and start loudly inhaling. Now, when I say it was loud, I mean it. Luckily, I was on my way to meet my boyfriend, so I just decided to tell him everything. Once we met though, the guy was no longer there. What a creepy person. Story 9. Friends' husbands or boyfriends send me messages late at night. A builder messaged me repeatedly after he finished a job, looking to make friends with me apparently. A random guy had to be intercepted by the police for taking photos of me using a long-range camera. My husband's old friends would hit on me. A random guy recently outside KFC told me I was beautiful, and my 10-year-old made a rude gesture at him. I'm just about 40, and I'm guessing it will start decreasing from now on. It has actually given me terrible anxiety, all the unwanted attention. Catching public transport as a teenager or in my early 20s was the worst. Thank goodness for Uber nowadays. It's assumed I'm stupid. How could I be smart? Insecure girls don't like me. Story 10. I was having a difficult time working as a nurse while studying and during my graduate year. I felt like I was being targeted by the managers and educator. I could never understand what I was doing wrong or why they didn't seem to like me. The number of times other older, female nurses said to me, "They're threatened by you because you're young and pretty," made me so sad. I wanted to be a good nurse, I wanted to learn. I did my best, I tried to be nice and professional, and they just disliked me. I'll never know if any of it was true, but it was said to me by multiple people. Story 11. You can't have a platonic friendship with the opposite sex. You are already labeled as someone with an attitude. You can't make friends easily, as people are intimidated by you. By default, people start competing with you or try to show how better they are than you. I'm like, what? I'm just struggling to exist here. I didn't choose this face. Story 12. The inability to establish friendships with guys without them wanting to have sexual relations with you has ruined every friendship group I have ever been in because they cannot simply remain friends. They desire a sexual relationship. Story 13. I was in a relationship with a really beautiful girl. It was the most surreal year of my life. Men were hitting on her 24/7. Guys were hitting on her in front of me. She handled it with more grace than I could have managed. Story 14. I'm autistic as well, which tends to confuse people. They're sometimes drawn to me because they find me attractive, just to realize they don't actually like me personally because I don't act like they expect me to. Additionally, I have a habit of people thinking I'm just very shy and cute instead of being autistic with extreme social anxiety. Then, they get to know me better and realize it's way more than some normal shyness. Then, it's not so cute anymore, well, to some people. Not being able to have true friends of the opposite sex is a challenge for me. Every close male friend I've had, even the ones where the relationship seemed so platonic at first, either ended up assaulting me or trying to force me into a romantic relationship with them. One ex-close friend actually stalked and harassed me for 4 years. Story 15. I was quite shocked when a stranger mentioned that if it were only about genetics, he would want to have a child with me. I reported him, and he was actually banned from the gym because it was not the first time he had acted inappropriately. I would like to add, after receiving a private message, that this is not an accusation against all men. I am very aware that this individual's behavior does not represent all men. I was simply responding to the question, so please remain calm. Story 16. For most of my life, I was very unattractive, and I have never adopted proper mechanisms of being assertive. Now, I'm kind of good looking, and I find it very hard to say no. Some women are really persistent. Even when I don't react with excitement, they think that I'm playing hard to get, or am just undecided or avoidant. I am avoidant, but that's not why I don't want to engage in flirting with many of them. Story 17. I grew up overweight and attractive, then lost all the weight and noticed how differently everyone treated me, and suddenly I was beautiful. Even my family suddenly referred to me as beautiful. It really made me see how unpleasant people can be. I get a lot of things I didn't when I was the overweight girl, special treatment, invites to select places, free things, and also people feel inclined to touch me without my permission. I have had hormone imbalance issues in the last year and gained weight recently but maintained my hourglass figure and mostly flat stomach. I have noticed slight changes in treatment from people, but only in the way that when I tell people not to bother me, they don't. When I did it before I gained weight, men, especially, took it as a fun challenge and wouldn't stop pushing me until I became seriously angry. For example, chasing me down the street for my number or reading my face / telling me how I'm feeling to challenge me. The biggest complaint I have is people trying to mind read me. I feel men and women alike are constantly looking at my face and trying to tell me what I'm thinking or feeling. Like, what in the world? This is just my face. Constantly, nearly every day at jobs, dates, or in social interactions, people tell me what I'm thinking because they are just looking at my face. It's infuriating. I've been told I'm mad, sad, happy, angry, all manner of things because people are looking at my face and trying to read it without any insight into my thoughts. It's extremely bizarre, and I've actually been fired before by managers for, I feel, not wearing the face they expect. Like, I can be in a great mood, but they are reading my face and thinking I'm not, and I'm having to explain that constantly. It's weird. I have observed with my recent weight gain, I am approached by more attractive and confident men, whereas when I was thinner or more athletic, I didn't get approached as often by guys I liked. 2. Regardless, the catcalling, getting followed home in cars, or men acting inappropriately in public always happens. And the worst part is when you tell people, friends, they think you're trying to brag or show off, somehow as though Brad Pitt just acted inappropriately to you and you weren't just terrified by some inappropriate person and the fact that it's happened more than once. It's lonely because you can't talk about it without sounding conceited. Story 18. Every single friend catches feelings. I've lost many friends because of this. It sucks. It took 4 years for my old best friend to finally tell me she was in love with me, made a move on me, then insisted we do stuff while she was driving down the road, threatening to not look at the road until we do. Sometimes you just wish to find a real friend who doesn't want anything more from you. Story 19. I am 35 and married. I have gained a little bit of weight since my 30s began, 20 to 30 pounds. I have a sprinkle of gray hairs, and I often dress in comfy clothing these days, so the male gaze often glosses over me. However, I was quite attractive between my late teens into my late 20s. There were so many benefits to being attractive, but I can think of 3 main drawbacks. 1. Women feeling threatened by me or not wanting me around their boyfriends. Male friends developing friendship-ending crushes on me. When the attractiveness fades, as it has for me, it is a very rude awakening. I became used to special treatment, flattery from strangers, and lots of heads turning. It has been an adjustment because where I once felt like I had big-time main character energy, I now feel invisible. I did not realize how much of my confidence and self-worth was wrapped up in my attractiveness. Story 20. When I started blossoming from an ugly duckling, I noticed how nice people suddenly were to me, especially men. There were some who weren't so nice, though, or only nice to my face. I was out with my sister and our friend. I was 15. They had to help fend off two girls who saw me walking around and decided to attack me. The reason? Oh, she thinks she's so pretty. Look at her and her perfect skin. Pathetic. As I got older, I found that men wouldn't leave me alone, and I got a lot of attention. Very flattering, but sometimes annoying when they wouldn't take no for an answer. I have been sexually assaulted twice, plus experienced it in 2 relationships. Unfortunately, I now have a fear of intimacy and getting close to a man. I have been celibate for 4 years and recently agreed to a date as I had known him for years. I was terrified of kissing him. I don't know how we are meant to get close when I am so terrified of having sex. I'm gonna find a counselor to help me with this. Story 21. Joined medical school. A small-town boy with huge dreams. Fell in love with a really beautiful girl in my year. It turned out she just got in a relationship with me to prove to other girls she is the best amongst them all, as most of them had a crush on me. Left me high and dry after a year. I had confided in her my childhood traumas, my secrets, and more. I had to be on prescription drugs just to sleep for about 6 months. Edit. Thank you, everyone, for such kind words. I have moved on, and the biggest credit for that goes to my friends. Now, I am off prescription drugs, did well, I think, in medical school, and am in a healthy relationship now. Story 22. Having a big chest growing up was just horrific, especially around pubescent boys. But a few years ago in Germany, I was in quite a rough area. Every single man in that shop was staring and pointing at my chest. I literally had a panic attack in the bread section, and when I gathered myself, I just crossed my arms over my chest and ran home. I've never worn a low-cut top since. Story 23. Customer service from women is not an option for me. I have been in grocery stores and had cashiers look me up and down, then leave the register and refuse to serve me. My husband didn't believe me until he saw it for himself. We had a happy interaction with the person in front of us. I received a look up and down, and then my friendly greeting was met with a scoff. He was very upset that day. I am just glad I was able to purchase what I needed and leave. Now, he never questions me when I am not up to making a return or going into the bank. He just understands. Story 24. My husband almost didn't ask me to marry him. We have a stark difference in appearance. But God could not create a more perfect man than him. Also, I happen to love how he looks. I love his smile, his joy, his everything. Anyway, I liked him before he asked me out. So that first date was the best I ever had since I started dating. We kept going out, we became a couple, and after some time I began sensing that he was distant. Panicked. I asked him to tell me what was wrong. He kept saying nothing. I insisted. After a whole lot of back and forth, we got married, and after some time, he says to me that a lot of people were actually mocking him. It had become a sort of bullying. They were saying stuff like, I only played with him, I couldn't be serious in dating him, I was with him for his money, like I didn't already work and had a similar salary with him, etc. I was floored. Why are people like this? We are together for 13 years and counting with a 6-year-old. Wouldn't change him for the world. Story 25. It actually is very lonely, and it's harder for me to make connections with both friends and potential partners. I am blonde, fit, heavily tattooed, blue eyes. I have been told I command a room. Well, when you command a room, women are instantly threatened and men are either afraid to talk to you because you're out of their league, or they are overconfident individuals that I would never interact with in the first place. I have had to become a gregarious, goofy person just to let others know I am worth knowing. Story 26. I bloomed into my looks when I was 18. I realized this as I was hiding in a bathroom with my friend from unwanted attention from a man, only for my friend to kiss me and feel me up. I was truly shocked by this kind of attention from both genders. Story 27. I have a hard time being taken seriously at my job. I am an attractive young female airline pilot. A lot of guys kind of look at you sideways at first until you prove yourself. That's super annoying. We are all trained and qualified, but I feel like I am always getting extra scrutiny. Story 28. I wonder how many people who answer this question think they are attractive and are. Think they are attractive but aren't. Don't think they are attractive but are. Don't think they are attractive and aren't. Story 29. My best friend is objectively attractive and didn't realize his experiences weren't common for everyone. No, you don't normally avoid traffic tickets by flirting. No, strangers don't usually buy you drinks every time you go out, and so on. His worst experience was one he actually didn't recognize as bad. A woman pulled him into an alley behind a bar and performed oral sex on him while he was so drunk he could barely stand. I tried telling him that was assault, but he's full of machismo and wouldn't listen.